Hey guys, welcome back to the channel Nate's Pink Bookshelf. My name is Nate Denise for those of you who are new to the channel. And as the title says below, this is going to be my January wrap up. So for the month of January, I read a total of 24 books, which is epic. You guys know from my old wrap up videos that I tend to read a lot of books in a month. So I got high hopes for February, let's just say that. But we're gonna dive right in. I'm not gonna be too long with each of these books as far as descriptions go, just because I have a lot of books to share with you guys. So we're gonna start with the first one, which was an ARC. This is Real Pigeons Fight Crime. This is by Andrew McDonald and Ben Wood. This is a sort of middle grade comic, if you will. I don't even know if I should call it a comic, but it is so cute. It's so funny. It reminds me of Pets and Angry Birds, and it just fights a band of pigeons that form this crime fighting group, and I enjoyed it. I gave it 4 stars. No, excuse me, I gave it 5 stars. I'm looking at my rating here. I read it in a day, and I just think it's the cutest thing. There are 2 other books called Real Pigeons Eat Danger and Real Pigeons Nest Hard. I think it's epic, and I definitely recommend it. I love the artwork in this book. I'm trying to find a close-up. I don't know, but I love it and how easy it is. I will be reading this with my son. It says it's for fans of Bad Guys and Dogman. My son actually enjoys Dogman, which is a comic written by Dave Pilkey. He is the creator of Captain Underpants. So decided this was going to be the next read that my son and I do. My son is 5 years old, going on 6. Oh my god, my son will be 6 next week. Oh, but yeah, this is going to be one of the books that we read. The next book I have here is The Will in the Wilds by Charlie N. Holmberg. This is the author of The Paper Magicians. This is going to be YA fantasy. It's not a high kind of fantasy with like an intensive magic system, but it is pretty good. I gave this, excuse me, it's not YA, it's new adult. Sorry, it's fantasy romance, new adult. And it's classified as YA, but I'm saying new adult because of the age bracket. And it follows like a guy named Michaelis who's a misting and a young girl named Enna. And I thought it was interesting. I gave it 4 stars, so yeah. Next, I have Woven in Moonlight by Isabel Ibáñez. It is a standalone fantasy. I really wish this was like a duology or something, but this was freaking epic. I gave this a 5-star rating. I adored it so much. So it follows a young girl named Zemina. I think that's how you say her name, Zemina. And she is sort of a decoy condessa or decoy princess for the main princess. And her job is to find the usurper Atok and take back this kind of jewel. It's a relic. It's basically a relic that looks like a jewel, and give back the kingdom for the Illustrians because it was taken from them and given to, oh my god, I don't know what they call the other group. There's another group in here. It's not the Illustrians though, but there's another group, and it involves a cute romance between her and, I can't say because it spoils a lot, but this book was giving me Zorro vibes as well. Oh my god, what is the other book? The other movie? It was definitely giving me Zorro vibes, but there was something else that this reminded me of, and I really enjoyed it a lot. Again, I wish it was a duology at least because it was epic, and apparently the author herself created this cover. There is a sequel coming out, actually, I heard. Oh, now that I think about it, I believe there is a sequel coming out. I'm gonna put on the screen if there really is a sequel coming out for this or not. But she did this herself. Like, she created the cover herself. This is awesome. I do own a second copy here from Book of the Month. I have the Book of the Month copy and the actual physical copy, and I just think this book is amazing. So recommend you guys read it. It is steeped in Bolivian politics and history and has magic. The magic system is based off of the moon. I thought it was awesome. Loved it so much. So we have this book. Okay, so the next book I gave 5 stars to, and that was With the Fire on High by Miss Elizabeth Acevedo. I adored this book. This book follows Amani Santiago. She's a senior in high school, and she has a 1-year-old baby girl. And she lives with her abuela, and she loves cooking. And it's about her really just learning to be herself and be true to herself. And things like that. She does build a romance with a guy named Malachi, who I thought was the cutest. Her ex-boyfriend was a little bit annoying, but I really just enjoyed how this explored sex and teen parenting and things like that. I thought it was phenomenal. It was beautifully written. I listened to the audiobook, and I loved it. You can see the tabs. I loved it so much, so we have that. Following that, I read It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover. Feels, gave 5 stars. I love this book. Now, I don't have it all the way tabbed up. I just put green tabs for all the quotes that I wanted to really remember for review. But this the feels. So it follows Lily and, oh my god, what is this guy's name? Riley, Lily, Riley, and Atlas. Okay, Atlas is a boy from her teen years that she met in high school, and he was a homeless child. And I'm not going to say any more than that because you have to read it. But she builds a bond with him. She forms a bond with him. And Lily at this time is living with her very abusive, horrible father. And she was always angry with her mother for her mother staying with this guy. Excuse me, not with this guy, but with her father. So, it starts where she is at her father's funeral. She's told to make a speech, but she can't say not one good thing about her father. So, yeah. Then she meets this guy named Riley. And Riley is a very upfront man. He lets her know off the bat he wants to have sex with her. Like, straight up, the first night, he's like, yeah, I want to have sex with you. She's like, no, or whatever. So, fast forward a few years later, they meet again under some awkward circumstances through his sister, Riley's sister. And they start to build this relationship, but things go left. And it kind of frustrated me and also made me feel for both Riley and Lily as characters. But that ending, oh my gosh. That ending with Atlas. Oh, that ending with Riley made me cry. That ending with Riley made me cry for it. It made me cry. If you read this book, you know what I'm talking about. I'm not going to get too much into it, but 5-star read. I thought this was amazing. I liked the way that it discussed abusive relationships and men in relationships with women, and women dealing with abusive relationships. You get to see two sides of the sort of spectrum. You have Lily, who as a young girl, she watched her mother get abused and she didn't understand it. But then you have Lily when she grows up and she's now stuck in this sort of situation as her mother, and she has to figure things out, and she can now understand her mother. So I like that you get both sides of the spectrum and not just the victim, but also the victim and one who's looking on the outside. You're getting to understand the thought process of everything. And that scene with her mother, when her and her mother had a talk, broke me. I was crying. I was bawling. This book was amazing. So I highly recommend this. If you don't mind too much sex. It is a lot of sex in this book, okay? But it definitely has a purpose. I feel like the sex scenes have a purpose to understanding the mindset of both Lily and Riley. So, enjoyed it. Alright, the next book I read was Scavenge the Stars by Tara Sim. I was sent this from the publisher for review, sent the finished copy for a blog tour, and I gave this a 3.75 star rating. The reason why I gave it 3.75 star rating is because I've never read The Count of Monte Cristo at all. I've never seen any of the movies, and she based this book off of the Disney movie, The Count of Monte Cristo, so I'm definitely going to look that up. But I definitely enjoyed this. I thought Amaya was a very bold, just determined young lady. Who was the other guy? Kaio. Oh, Kaio and her? I got some feels. I really hope. I can't wait for book 2, because I need them to be together, okay? I need Kaio, and I need her to be together, okay? And Roach was freaking awesome. I think his name is Roach. But her friend was like awesome, and I think it's a great start to a retelling. They say that it's YA fantasy. It's more so a YA retelling, but I don't really get any fantasy aspects from it. But I enjoyed it a lot. So I enjoyed it a lot, but I don't know what The Count of Monte Cristo was like, so that's why I gave it a 3.75 star rating, and I wasn't 100% invested in the characters. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to find the movie, watch the movie, and see if I can still correlate this to the movie. And if I can, it'll be bumped up to a 4-star. But I did enjoy this, and I love the cover. The cover is gorgeous. The next book I have is Dreamer's Pool by Juliette Marillier. This is the first book to her Blackthorn and Grimm trilogy. I do own the first 2 books. This one and the other one is somewhere on my shelf. That's a good question. Where is it? Oh, here it is. Tower of Thorns. The sequel is here. And I gave this a 3.75 star rating. This was good. Very, power to the women type of book. Didn't get much fantasy out of this, which is why I didn't give it a 4-star. Not a lot of fantasy aspects to it, magic or anything. There is Fae mentioned in the book. There is a character who is Fae that helps out Blackthorn, but still not much magic to it. And Blackthorn pissed me off a lot of the times. She was very anti-men because of one man, which I get why she was angry and hurt, but I didn't understand why she hated all men because of that one man. It didn't make sense. I thought she was like raped or something like that, but she wasn't. No, I didn't really get into this up until the mystery aspect of it, where you have the prince, which is Prince Orin, and his future bride, Lady Fladaeus. I think that's how you say Fladaeus. But Prince Orin is a really sweet guy, and Lady Fladaeus, that whole mystery behind her was like, what? I was confused. It was epic. I enjoyed it. I love me some Grimm. Grimm kind of reminds me, because I was listening to the audiobook as I read this, the guy that was doing the audio for Grimm reminds me of the guy that did the audio for the guy that, oh my god, the main character from American Gods. I cannot remember his name for the life of me. It'll be on the screen. But the audiobook for that sounded exactly like the guy that was on the audiobook for Grimm, which is why I really, really enjoyed Grimm. Grimm is like this brute man who just stays quiet, but if you piss him off, he goes like left real quick, and I loved it so much. I love this cover though, and 3.75 star rating. I enjoyed it, but I wish it was more magic, so I'm hoping that the sequel has a lot more magic to it, especially since they live near the Fae. But there's not much mention to the Fae, and I really want to know more about Conmel. That's his name, Conmel, who's a noble Fae that found Blackthorn, because it starts off with her, Blackthorn and Grimm in jail, and Conmel kind of saves Blackthorn, and then in turn Grimm follows her, but you don't get much information about Conmel. All that we know is that they somehow know each other, but it's not revealed how, so I don't know. I want more information about this. Like, I need more, okay? So I have the sequel. Hopefully I enjoy the sequel. If not, it is what it is, but we have it. Okay, and then I reread Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone by J.K. Rowling. I gave it 4 stars, so it was good. This time I read it with more intention. I enjoyed it. It was cute. It was comical. I did a lot more tabs. Am I a fan like that of the books? Not really. I still prefer the movies, but I will be reading, I will be reading, I keep saying reading. I will be watching the first movie this month, and then I'll pick up the sequel most likely next month, but we have this. Enjoyed it. Moving on. I then read The Queen of Nothing by Miss Holly Black, and let me just say 5 stars, okay? Tabs. Okay, we have tabs. Let me just say, I love Jude and I love Cardan, okay? Vivi gave me some real vibes. Taryn, still don't really like her, but she's somewhat redeemed herself. Matic pissed me off. Ghost, I don't know, was it Ghost or Roach? I love both of them, but the one that betrayed them, I think it was the Ghost. I get it now, what happened in the sequel. Like, I get and understand, but I still don't condone what he did, but I understand it. Bomb, I love her. She's cute. And the Roach, her and the Roach are just like adorable. But this was everything to me. Everything and more. I'm sad it's over. I don't know how to feel. Like, it's over. And I think, now normally I don't believe in having multiple copies of a book, but because I swoon this series so much and I want the exclusive content, I'm thinking about getting the box set of the black cover editions from Barnes & Nobles. Because I know that the black edition has the letters that Cardan wrote to her. And I've seen people read the letters, but I think I want it for myself. But I'm content with how this ended. I wish there was like a little novella, you know, with babies and things like that. Yeah, you know, just saying. But I'm excited to read what Holly Black has coming out next. I know she has other series that I can read, but I don't know if I want to. Because I'm stuck on Jude and Cardan. A lot of people are not happy with how this ended. I'm content. I don't feel like it needed to be long-winded. Yes, it was slightly rushed, but I was content with this, okay? I was content. I was happy, and it gave me what I wanted. Cardan and Jude together in the end. And Oak, oh my god, Oak has grown up so much. Excuse my voice. I am sick. My voice, I lost it for about 3-4 days. It's still not all the way there, so my voice will crack throughout the video. I apologize, but we love. I did paint my edges in gold. I adore. Moving on. I read another book of the month book, which is Opposite of Always by Justin A. Reynolds. I gave this 5 stars. I adored this book. Now, there are some problematic issues with this book, especially concerning Jack with his relationships with his friends. He did some stupid stuff, but I love Jack. I love Kate. I love Jillian. I love Franny. I love the whole time travel aspect, and I thought it was really, really great. And they were just really quirky and queer, and I loved it so much. So, awesome read. I'm going to be rereading it this month as an audiobook, but yeah, loved it. Okay, so now I'm going to move into the Christian books that I read, such as Christian fiction, biblical fiction, and nonfiction. So I read 3 nonfictions for the month of January. The first one was Calling and Separation by Bob Yannon. This just talks about the prophet Elisha, so I gave this a 4-star rating. Then I did a devotional. I did 31 Proverbs to Light Your Path by Liz Curtis Higgs. This was great. 31 days of different scriptures from Proverbs. Gave it 4 stars. I then read C.S. Lewis's Mere Christianity. I have the bind up with all 8 of his like classic novels in here. I already read the Screwtape Letters, love that, but I read Mere Christianity this month and this past month in January. Gave it 4 stars, enjoyed it. I then read a biblical fiction, and biblical fiction, if you guys don't know, is basically fiction based off of actual biblical events. This one was on Zipporah, the wife of Moses, and I gave this a 4 stars. It's really a 5-star read for me, but I had a little bit of a concern with this book. It's like I said, it's really 5-star for me, but because of it possibly being a trigger for some people, I did give it 4 stars on Goodreads, but I enjoyed this. You can see the tabs. Can you see the tabs? Yeah, this was epic, and I just think it's amazing. And learning about Moses through the eyes of his wife Zipporah was really good. So we have that. Gave 4 stars, but it's really 5 stars. I then read Left Behind by Tim LaHaye and Jerry B. Jenkins. I gave this 4 stars. This is Christian sci-fi, dystopian, futuristic. I don't really know how to describe it, but it was good. Okay, it was good, and I'm actually going to be reading the other 2 books this month, books 2 and 3. It is a 13-book series with a 3-book prequel, so 16 books total in this entire world, plus there's a YA version. So yes, but book 1 was really good. Gave it 4 stars and can't wait to continue on with the series. I then read Ascendant by Kimberly Gray, Christian YA fantasy. Enjoyed it. Gave it 4 stars. This basically is about black wings versus white wings. Black wings are the good angels, white wings are the bad angels, and it follows Grace, who is a saboteur for the white wings. She gets caught by she gets caught by the black wings, and she begins to learn the truth behind the white wings and begins to change sizes from evil to good. Enjoyed it. This will be a trilogy. I was sent this from the author, and I can't wait to continue on. Next, I read a historical fiction, which is On Wings of Devotion by Rosanna M. White. This was really good. It follows Nurse Arabelle Dindler and a former pilot squadron. I don't even know what he was. He had a squadron. Okay, his name is Major Philip Camden, and their romance was freaking epic. My only gripe is that Arabella just kept calling herself ugly. It's not Arabella, it's Arabelle. Excuse me, I keep saying Arabella. But she kept calling herself ugly. Everybody was calling her ugly, and people were only attracted to her for her money because when her aunt died, she left her a large inheritance. So yeah, that was like my only gripe, is that she constantly called herself ugly. Like, constantly. Even when Philip met her for the first time, he called her ugly without saying that she was ugly. But I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the romance. I love the whole espionage kind of aspect to it, and I definitely will continue on. This is the 2nd book in the series or trilogy. I do own the 1st book, haven't read it, but I'm definitely going to read the 1st book because I did enjoy this enough to give it a 4 stars. Then I read The Way of Brave by Susan May Warren. This is contemporary romance. This is set on the Denali in Alaska, and it follows Jenny Calhoun as well as Orion Starr. Yes, Jenny Calhoun is a former CIA profiler, and she caused the death of a few men when they were up against the Taliban, and Orion Starr was one of them. I think he lost his knee or something like that and got it fixed. But it's just them rekindling a romance that they had, but Jenny ran because she felt bad, and it was really cute. I enjoyed it. I gave it 4 stars. The next book I read is going to be Collateral Damage by Lynette Eason. This was a soft DNF for me. It is a 3-star rating, but it's also a soft DNF. I read up to chapter 12. Or I read chapters 1 through 11, stopped at chapter 12. I even had my page dog-eared. But the reason why is because I think it was because I read so many romantic suspense novels back to back that by the time I got to this book, I just was over it. So now I know to space out my romantic suspense and not read them back to back. I will be re-picking this up maybe in a month or 2. It wasn't that it was bad. It was really, really good so far from what I read. But it was also very slow paced, and I just was not up for it. So it was a soft DNF, but also a 3-star rating. I'll leave my review down below of what I thought, but we have that. Okay, I read another biblical fiction, and it's Iscariot by Tosca Lee. I gave this a 4-star rating. I thoroughly enjoyed it. This basically talks about Judas Iscariot from the Bible, who was the betrayer of Jesus, and it just gives him a beginning and an end. And I really enjoyed the way Tosca weaved scripture into this sort of fictional world, and how she gave this guy that we look at as evil a really gripping story. So I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I can't wait to read more from this author. She does write other biblical fiction and Christian fantasy novels. She has worked with Ted Dekker before, and she also, I believe, writes suspense as well. So I do want to try out her other books, but I thoroughly enjoyed this book a lot. Then I read Travis Thrasher's American Omens. This was pretty darn good. Gave it 4 stars. This is futuristic sci-fi dystopian kind of story where Christianity is basically wrong, illegal. You can't even own a Bible at this time. It's set in 2038 and it follows Cheyenne Byrne and a guy named Will. And there's a guy named the Reckoner who is kind of like a modern day prophet, or a future day prophet rather. And he's trying to bring Christianity back and reveal the evil in the world. And I think it's epic. It also follows the perspective of an FBI agent who's out here killing people on a next level type of thing. His name is Dowling. I couldn't stand him, but I thoroughly enjoyed this book a lot. So I gave it 4 stars. So then I read 2 Christian romantic suspense novels. Both of them got the same rating. The first one is Mind Games by Nancy Mahel. I gave this a 4.5-star rating. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It's the first book in the Kaylee Quinn Profilers, and this is for people who enjoy Criminal Minds. If you're a fan of Criminal Minds, the TV show, definitely get this book. It reads like a Criminal Minds episode. Kaylee Quinn works with the FBI BAU, and she has received a letter from a serial killer, and she's also the daughter of a serial killer. This was really good. I buddy read this with one of my sisters, and this book is really a 5-star read, but I gave it a 4.5 because we kind of predicted, when I buddy read this, we kind of predicted who the killer was. My sis actually kind of was like, this might be the killer, and I was like, no, it can't be him, but then it turns out to be that person, and I was fine with that, but his reasoning behind trying to kill her and killing all these innocent people pissed me off so much, so I gave it a 4.5-star rating, but it's really 5 stars, but this was good. If you are a fan of Criminal Minds, I highly recommend you pick this up. And it is Christian romantic suspense, but it's not super heavy on like the God and Jesus aspect, so if you're not into that, that's fine, but it does have some important faith aspects to it. I do highly recommend this to everyone. It is so good, especially if you love Criminal Minds. You're not gonna regret reading this. The second to last book I have is Endgame by Rachel Dillon. Again, Christian romantic suspense. I gave this 4.5 stars. Thoroughly enjoyed this. If you enjoy NCIS, get this book. It reads like an NCIS show, okay? It reads. This dragged on though, which is why I say it's like an NCIS episode, because NCIS, they have like one episode broken into 3 different episodes and it drags, and that's one thing I don't like about NCIS. So this was really good. That's the only reason why I gave it 4.5 is because it dragged so much. I just felt like it was too much. It was too much, but it was really good. So if you're into NCIS, highly recommend it. The final book I read was for a blog tour, and that was Malice by Pentip Dunn. This is YA sci-fi, and it was interesting. I gave it 3.5 stars, right? Excuse me, I gave it 3.75 star rating. It was good. I really don't remember much about it. I just know that there is a young girl named Alice, and she is conversing with her future self. Like, her future self comes from the future to the past to try to get Alice to stop something from happening in the future, which causes like a virus. Yeah, it was interesting. Finding out who the person was that she had to stop was crazy. I love that there were 2, I believe there were Thai characters in this book. So that was cool, but it was okay. I wasn't like hooked on it, but then again, I'm not into sci-fi dystopian books at all like that. So 3.75 star rating is pretty good, but that was it. So I did pretty much complete all the books that I had on my TBR for the TBR jar video. If you haven't seen that, click the I here. The only 2 books I didn't get to are going to be P.S. I Still Love You by Jenny Han, which is the second book in that trilogy. I will be trying to tackle that this month because I know that the Netflix adaptation for book 2 is coming out. And then I also have Blue Screen by Dan Wells. This is a Mirador trilogy. It's a sci-fi kind of virtual dystopian world type of thing. I didn't get a chance to get to this, so I'm going to put this back into my TBR jar and hopefully get to it another month. But again, if you want to see all those books, just click the on screen and go to the TBR jar video I did. I do not have a TBR jar video for this month because I had a ton of books I'm reading. If you guys have not seen my Blackathon TBR or my Tone Topple TBR, click the on screen and go to those videos. But that is pretty much it for my January wrap up. I had a great month. Really great month. No bad readings. No bad ratings. I think they were all above a 3-star. The only one I gave a 3-star to was obviously what was it called? Can't remember that book, but gave it 3 stars because I read too many books. Collateral Damage. My favorites for the month though definitely were The Queen of Nothing, #1, my #1 favorite. Loved it. Following that, I'm gonna go in with Woven in Moonlight. I enjoyed that a lot. And then following that, I would have to say It Is With the Fire on High by Elizabeth Acevedo. and then ending with It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover. That book was beautifully written. I did have one more other 5-star read, and that was Opposite of Always, but I didn't get a chance to paste it here because I only had these 4 books for the month that were my favorites. But The Opposite of Always definitely is another one of my favorites from the month. So I pretty much, like I said, got to all of my books except for P.S. I Still Love You and Blue Screen, which is epic for me. So P.S. I Still Love You will definitely be pushed for February. Blue Screen will not. I'm going to put it back on my shelf and put the little paper back into my TBR jar. But I will have TBR jar video this month coming at the end of the month for March. Again, that's basically the video in which I have my son pick out some books for me. I'm actually thinking about making another jar that has to do with prompts, in which I would have my son pick out 1 or 2 prompts from that jar and then find books on my shelves, because I really want to get into reading my physical books. I love buying books, of course, and I have a lot of ebooks, over 10,000 ebooks, but I really, for some reason, want to just read a lot more physical books on my shelf, especially this section here. So yeah, we have that. But I do have at least 2 or 3 of my Book of the Month books for my TBR for the month of February. So that's great. But other than that, that is it for this video. The next 3 videos you see will hopefully be book reviews, because I plan on doing book reviews for Opposite of Always, and what is the other book I said I wanted to do a review for? Warbreaker. So yeah. Hopefully, Opposite of Always and Warbreaker reviews will be coming. I want to do individual book reviews on my channel. So, that is it for this video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!